Hi, and welcome to the video series on Easy Autoresponder Cache. Before we get started, I want to give you a quick summary of this particular video series. This is not just going to focus on how to set up an autoresponder. The real focus is going to be on how to find offline companies, how to approach offline companies, how to build a relationship with them, and then close a deal. Now, what are you selling? You're selling basically a system on using Aweber or any other autoresponder and setting up an email system for them. A lot of offline companies don't have a proper autoresponder or email system set up. A lot of them, in fact, are just still using old email systems and Outlook Express to send out their mass emails. And they really don't have a system that is set up to generate leads. And if they do, generally it's very time consuming and very costly. So what you're doing is you're really doing them a favor as you approach them. You're saving them time and you're saving them money. So what we're doing here is we're approaching them, closing the deal. This you can earn anywhere from several thousand, and I've earned personally up to 5 to 10,000. And this is taken from my personal experience so that you can learn exactly step by step what to do. And not just mine, I've talked to several other direct marketers about this who are in businesses that deal with, email marketing and setting up autoresponders, and they say the same thing. So with that said, let's move on. What I'm going to do is give you a quick overview of what to expect in each individual videos. So the first video is this particular video. I'm going to explain and give you a quick overview of each videos themselves, what we're going to talk about. Then I'm going to dive into what kind of tools you're going to need so that you can expect to be able to put all the pieces of the puzzle together. And I'm a big believer in showing you what you're going to expect in advance and what tools you need and how the system works all together so that when you do watch the videos 2 through 7, it'll make it a lot easier. In video 2, I'm going to talk about approaching offline companies, how you find these offline companies, what kind of techniques you use. Fortunately for you, it's going to all be free. We're going to use website tools, Google Trends, Google Local, and things like that to find offline companies. There's specific things to look out for when you do find offline companies, because you don't want to end up with a company that cannot afford, or I mean a company that will not take you as seriously, because then you would just be wasting your time and money. So I'm going to talk about how to find them. Once you find them, what do? How do you approach them? And then how do you close the deal? And then what do you do from then? So that particular video is going to be a bit longer because I'm going to focus on that important aspect, because that's what makes this video series interesting. Video 3, I'm going to talk about creating their follow-up series. What then? Once you close the deal, what then do you do? Like, how do you create their follow-up series? I know some of you might be coming at an angle like, oh, it's very easy to create follow-up series. Well, great. But when you're dealing with offline companies, it's a little different in that aspect. Video 4, we're going to talk about email HTML templates. Email HTML templates, as you know, are increasing. And that's what makes an email list look good. And when you're approaching offline companies, they care a lot about presentation. I mean, even with an online business, you should care, but offline companies put a lot of effort into making pretty or very good looking HTML templates. If you can do that, you can master that, and I'll show you how to do that, and you can even outsource it quickly, and you can outsource it for, you know, less than 30, 50, 40, $60 around that range, and you're making a couple $1,000s, it's easier just to outsource it. But believe it or not, offline companies, it's funny. They'll spend thousands of dollars on HTML templates. And being that I have worked with a lot of offline companies and even work for some, they do invest a lot in that area. So that's kind of funny. But anyways, video 5 is going to be about setting up the emails. Once you created the emails, once you created the email HTML templates, then it's time to set up the emails, the welcome follow-up emails, and so forth. Video 6, easy shopping cart integration. Some companies will use shopping carts, and they want a system where you can actually, after somebody purchases a product, they will go onto their list. Now, Aweber fortunately covers some of that with the shopping carts and things like that, but I'm going to go over it a little bit just because it's something that will come up whenever you are dealing with offline companies, especially if they want integration. Most of the time, that's not the case, but a lot of the times it can be the case because you are dealing with a company that doesn't really like change, but they're willing to change because they're willing to grow and expand. But they're still using traditional marketing, dinosaur marketing, in fact. So there takes a little bit of convincing, but I'll show you techniques that you can use to convince them. Because your goal is to help them, but your goal is to sell to them as well. Video 7, the last video, is going to be about testing and statistics. Once you're done with everything, you need to test it. You need to make sure that it works. You need to make sure that the client sees that it works. Because once they see it works, bam, they're going to want you to do more. All right, I'll tell you a little more about that later. And statistics, you're going to want to send them reports or show them how to access the reports. And as you know, Aweber provides all of that. So now you know what to expect in these videos, I can move on and talk about what kind of tools that you're going to need. Basic tools, all the tools that you have are free except for an autoresponder. You're going to need the internet. There's a lot of tools that we're going to and websites that we're going to use on the internet. Fortunately, they're free. You're going to need a cell phone. You're going to need to be able to pick up the phone and talk. I know some of you are thinking, I'd rather do this behind my computer. And I thought the same thing too, many years back. But you got to realize you make a lot more money if you just pick up the cell phone and talk. Because when you're dealing with offline companies, they would rather talk to you or meet with you in person. Or you could set up an appointment with their marketing director. You need confidence and you need basic communication skills. Because when you're approaching offline companies, if you don't look unconfident, then if you look not confident, then you're going to put that on your product and service. You're just going to basically tell the offline company that you are not confident in your product. So you got to be confident. You got to have basic communication skills. So if you feel like, oh, this doesn't sound like it's going to be good for me, well, guess what? You need to be able to do this eventually. So what better way than to expand and to be able to reach out and improve yourself, but in this video series. So you will thank me later. Confidence, basic communication skills. Go out there, do some speaking, just talk to random people, and just call a bunch of people. You will realize that after talking to people on the cell phone and just talking to marketing directors of different companies and things like that, you will find that you will actually enjoy it. You might enjoy it. So that's a definite. Aweber. You can use another autoresponder if you choose to do so. However, I will be using Aweber, so if you want to follow step by step, I'd recommend that you get Aweber. How it all works. Pretty simple, straightforward idea. A lot of it is focused on approaching offline companies. You approach the offline company, of course, before that, you find them. Then you close the deal. But between those 2 points, there's a lot that goes into it. Then you need to plan out what their custom process looks like. You have to know their system, how they're marketing, how they're doing their things. Because when you set up this system, it's not always going to be the same. Sometimes they need some customization. Once you do that, then you know how to create their follow up emails. Then you know what they expect with the templates and things like that. Then you can create the HTML templates. Then you can set up everything and test it. So now that you know how it all works, we can move on to video 2, where we actually talk about offline companies, how to find them, how to see whether they're a good candidate, and how to approach them and how to close the deal.